What's up guys, it's Rogue Tier here and welcome to the third upload of the week. This should come out on Friday, so if I've done everything right you'll be seeing this on Friday. And this is our sort of monthly update of Invoked. This did come out last Friday. I say did, I took it down because YouTube had a sort of mess up and uploaded the same deck profile twice. However, for me, it was showing as Invoked. So I don't know exactly what happened there, but I'm re-recording it now. Hence why there's a lot of different colored sleeves. I know a lot of people don't like that, but you have to keep in mind I recorded the video a month ago and then I unbuilt the deck to make other deck profiles for the channel. So everything is in a bunch of different color sleeves and I do apologize for that, and I will mention it again in the deck profile where it is appropriate. As I said, this is the Invoked deck list I took to a OTS championship. I'm not going to say it did great. I was a bit disappointed in it, but then again, the way I lost the games that I lost is sort of no real counterplay. I lost to Branded, which basically I got harpied, and I had a really nice back row set up with my Macabre and a Mirror Jade, I believe. And he even discarded Dark Ruler. Man didn't even need it, but he had Dark Ruler Harpy, and this was game 3, so there's not really much I could have done there. And then I think I lost, was it in time? I think it was in time to Runic Naturia, which is already on the profiles. Make sure you do check that out. Joel did take that dub. It got to the point where we were grinding back and forth in game 3 and I had 4 spells in my hand and he had the Nat Beast on field, and then there was not much I could have done there, and then he poked and then there was time in the round, so there's not much I could have done there. And then I think my matches that I did win were against Black Wings and against Galaxy Eye. So I got kind of easy matchups towards the end, probably because I lost 2 in a row and then I got sort of put in the lower tiers. But I still think, I think the deck underperformed in terms of it could have, I believe, won the event if I maybe got a bit luckier. But that's Yu-Gi-Oh! Sometimes. I'm not, angry about it. It's just how it is. I've had a lot of luck go my way as well sometimes. So you just got to take it how it is. And really good to Joel and to Reese as well for managing to beat me. And they did very well in the event as well. So I'm happy for both of them. Without any further ado, let's get into the deck profile. A lot of rambling. I do apologize. I'm trying to cut that down. And let's get into this updated OTS Championship Invoked deck list. For our first card here, we of course have Triple Alistair the Invoker, the best normal summon in Yu-Gi-Oh! I say it every time we have our monthly updated Invoked videos. I really do think he's a really good normal summon, and if they don't stop him, you get the negate up, and it makes it very difficult for your opponent. We also of course have the Triple Magical Meltdown, better version of Alistair, gets you card economy, gets you Alistair, which gets you the invocation, and also gives all your fusion summons and effects protection. So really nice card. 1 invocation, I dropped it down last month, haven't looked back since. I really hate opening up invocation, and you can say that the Runics are a counter, but if you go first and you are playing against Runics, what you can do is, instead of shuffling back the invocation into the deck to get your Alistair back to hand, yes, it's ideal to do that, but if you're scared that they're going to banish the invocation, just leave it in the graveyard, and then during your turn, what you can do is shuffle it back, get your Alistair, normal summon Alistair, and get the invocation back. Not the perfect counterplay, but it is a way to play around Runics. And then we'll of course have the 1 Terraforming, which is our 4th copy of Magical Meltdown, which means it's our, extra copy of Alistair as well. For our first engine here, we have the Branded Fusion engine. Engine's insane. The only complaint I have is that I don't see it more, and that you have to play, of course, the 1 brick. But Branded Fusion is just one hell of a card. Gets you Mirror Jade, which dumps for cost, which gets you access to so many more cards. It's just, you can't link summon the turn you do it. But if you're committing to the Branded Fusion anyway, there's loads of combo guides on my channel already that show that if you have Branded Fusion and Invocation, you don't even need to open Alistair, and you end up with the entire Invoked engine anyway. For another engine, I should say, we have the Dogmatica package. Also very mandatory. Well, mandatory in terms of my monthly updates. I always play this engine. Nothing's really changed except the inclusion of Dogmatica Punishment. I think adding the punishment here, what I took out was a Bestial. So I'm dropped a Bestial in terms of to play the Dogmatica Punishment, and I think that was a really good call. Now, Ecclesia and Fleur de Lis are obviously very good, and the Nadir's Servant is basically like an Engage. What you do is, Nadir's Servant, after you do the entire combo, dump Garura, draw 1, add Ecclesia, Ecclesia summon, search either the Fleur de Lis or Punishment. Or if you don't want to get the draw, what you do is dump Ash Dragon, summon Ecclesia, get yourself the Punishment, set the Punishment, and then end phase you get the Fleur de Lis anyway. And then of course the Punishment can send the Entis, which is a 2-for-1. So I think this has been better than the Bestial. I dropped the new Bestial for it, and I haven't really looked back since, to be honest with you. Speaking of Bestials, we still play them just because they have a lot of synergy with the branded stuff. We're playing 2 of the Bestial Lubellion, triple of the Bestial Magnamute since it's the best one, and then double of the Bestial Druisworm. Now the cool thing about Lubellion, and I know Cameron, if he watches this video, will say, oh, this card's not good, you need to drop it. Why I think this card is good is because it's a light that you can send off Branded Fusion, so that gives you instant access to Mekaba. If you draw it, you can pitch it from your hand to get yourself a really good hand trap still. Very good in certain situations. Gets you the Druisworm, gets you the Magnamute, which get you more cards, or card advantage. And also, what you can do is, if you, for example, they have a negate or something and you want to play around it, you can send the Bestial Lubellion, summon the Ash Dragon, be over it since it's unaffected by all monster effects, special summon from the extra deck. And then Bestial Lubellion, tribute your Ash Dragon, summon himself, and then at the end phase, you get your Dogmatica engine online. So I just think that is very, very versatile. Wouldn't play 3, because I think 3 is too much. 2 is, I think, just perfectly fine. And of course, the Magnamute and the Druisworm, they're just very good. I think you know what they do by now. For our last engine that I added, I dropped the Nibiru's for this. I played double... Actually, no, I didn't drop Nibiru's. I dropped the triple Tactics Talent, or the 2 flex spots that I had originally, for the 2 Kashtira Fenrir. Why do I think this card is good? Has quite a few reasons. First of all, the card's insane. First of all, if you start off your combos with it, people normally assume that you're playing Kashtira, which is really nice. If they hand trap this, it's perfectly fine, because then you can normal summon Alistair and do all your plays anyway. It's also really good going second for board breaking, and it gets you a card in your hand, which if you need to discard off your Branded Fusion engine is absolutely fine. So those are the reasons why I think Kashtira Fenrir is really nice. Would I play 3? Potentially not. I think 2 is fine, because one such as the other, and that's about it. But you can make an argument to drop maybe a Magnamute or Lubellion and play a 3rd Kashtira Fenrir. For the hand traps, triple Ash and triple Imperm. That is it. If you don't count the Bestials, we're only playing 6 hand traps, and I think that was perfectly fine because I switched out triple Nibiru for a card I'm going to show you in the spell section, which is a board breaker instead. I'm like, Nibiru's not always active, and sometimes they respect the Nibiru and stop at 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play a board breaker that I can pretty much always use. So that is what I did instead. But Ash and Imperm, best hand traps for branded and pretty much for anything else. So that is why I'm playing them. I also apologize for the different color sleeves, guys. I already recorded this deck profile originally about a month ago. And then I had it scheduled, but YouTube messed up the schedule. The video didn't go up. It ended up being a completely different video. And I've already had put all the stuff away, so now I've basically pulled them out all from different decks, and that's why there's loads of different colored sleeves, but I do apologize for that. We have triple Pot of Prosperity, again, consistency card, really, really nice. I think the card's mandatory. Triple Dark Ruler, which is the card I added over Nibiru, and I haven't looked back since. I think this card's just really nice. They set up a massive board, you Dark Ruler them, and the deck's really good at breaking boards. And then to round it off, the one Called by the Grave to play around hand traps, which I think the deck does already very, very well because it has a lot of power spells. So that is the main deck. It is 40 cards, really, really consistent. Let's go into the extra deck where there were a lot of changes from my last profile. Going on to the extra deck, this is where the major changes happen. We're starting off with one Access Code Talker, beautiful copy that I got in Starlight Rare. Shout out to Phil. Access Code Talker, I think, is very, very good this format, especially when you play the links that we already are forced to play. So for example, what I mean is we already do play the Dark and the Artemis package. So simply adding the Access Code and Selene wasn't really that much of a commitment anyway. And what I did was I just dropped cards that didn't really come up, and I dropped Ultimate Slayer out of the extra deck, so I didn't have to play targets for that as well. So I dropped the Omega and I dropped something else to play these 2 cards instead. And I think these 2 are a lot better because they give you a lot more versatility when going second and pushing for that OTK. What have I said? Dark is just really good because you play a lot of Darks. And Artemis is really nice because you just normal summon Alistair, link it to Artemis, and you don't have to do the Almirage into the Secure Gardener combo, saving you 1 extra deck space because we don't play the Dogmatica Maximus. So that is why we're playing it, and it is also in a very beautiful collector rare, which I picked up very recently. For our fusions, I don't think anything here has changed, to be honest. I still think this lineup has been the same for months for me. I don't ever, consider swapping these three out. Sometimes I wish I played the Fire over the Kaliga, but I guess it's just sort of you have to make a choice. You want to play the Fire one? Do you want to play the Kaliga? I've seen the Kaliga come up more often, hence why I'm playing it, but sometimes they ash you, and then you could, later on in the game, you could use that ash for a Purgatrio and push for a lot of damage, and that's when you miss it. I don't summon Kaliga too much. It was mostly for Flunderees, but they didn't really see too much play in the OTS Championship, so I didn't really summon Kaliga that much at all. I mostly just summoned these two, with the Goides being my preferred one. I think now it's overtaken Mikaba, because it's just so good. Whenever your opponent special summons, whenever it is special summoned, you just pop one monster in the field. It's really, really nice. Banish a fusion from the graveyard, and it gets absolutely huge. And Mikaba is just Mikaba. You sort of start to feel his age now. I feel like he has been power crept a little. The fact that you have to discard one. The banish and negate is nice because it doesn't target, so you can get around awkward things. But usually you just make him to trade the 1-for-1 because you just want to, because you can go into your invoked engine anyway next turn, use this Mikaba to either make another Goides or another Mikaba and push for damage. So Mikaba just usually trades it 1-for-1 anyway. Moving on to our branded fusion package, nothing's changed here. 1 Mirror Jade, as I said, this card's amazing. I'm hoping to pick up Starlight soon. 1 Albion, 1 Nubellion, and 1 Titaniclad. I go into all of these pretty much all the time. I go into Ash Dragon as well when I need to get the last bit of damage in. I need to make him huge. I make him with a Fallen of Albaz and Nubellion. He comes out with 3/7, which is a permanent attack gain, and he's unaffected the turn he's summoned by monsters special summon from the extra deck. So he's really, really nice. And then if you don't want him, after you do the battle phase, you can, using the Lubellion you used to make him, tribute him off, get the Lubellion on field, and then you can start your Dogmatica engine for summoning the Ecclesia and adding your Fleur to hand. So that's really, really nice. Mirror Jade, as I said, is amazing. Albion is really nice as well when you don't want to discard. Sometimes you open a really good hand and you don't necessarily want to discard, so you just sacrifice the branded fusion engine going forward by banishing the 1 Albaz you play. If you open multiple branded fusion, maybe make Lubellion, shuffle the Fallen of Albaz back into the deck so you can use it again next turn. And for these other 3 cards, 1 Garua, self-explanatory, we're playing a Dear Servant, this is a draw 1. 1 Elder Entity Entis, really self-explanatory. Could make a debate to play 2 now that we're playing the Dogmatic Punishment, but I still do believe that Wallow is a very, very good inclusion in the extra deck. So that is the end of the deck profile, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Just in case you guys didn't know or forgot, it is 40 cards in the main deck and of course 15 cards in the extra deck. As I said, I think Invoked is in a okay place this format. It doesn't really have any good matchups. It doesn't really have any necessarily bad matchups. It just sort of does okay against everything. I guess against Labyrinth, I guess you can struggle because it is more back row, but there is a lot of back row in the side deck, which I won't be showing because it's all over the place. The original video did have a side deck. I more or less can remember, so I'll try and tell you off the top of my head. Yeah, I believe it was triple Cosmic Cyclone, triple Solemn Strike for going first. So that's what you side out for your Dark Rulers. You just put the strike package in. We had triple Lightning Storm. What was that, 9? We had triple of the Ghost Moron, which was what I was testing, and then triple of the Artifact Lancia. That was my side deck, which I didn't show, but I've just told you now. So that is the side deck. I wouldn't say the side deck is perfect. Maybe take out a Lightning Storm for Harpy's Feather Duster. But that is what I played. The side deck did okay. Solemn Strikes did really, really good. And you should probably see them on the thumbnail because I don't know if I'll include them in the thumbnail because I didn't actually show you guys this time. But they performed very, very well, in my opinion. And I think it's a very good card. When they commit into a massive summon, you just strike it and you sort of, especially against Dragon Link, they make into that Link 5, you just negate the summon and they just wasted a bunch of monsters to get into him. So I think Strike is very, very good this format and it's a bit slept on. But without any further ado, that is the end of the video. I'm going to tell you quickly what is coming out next week. Next week, you should see a case opening video. I opened up a case to see if I could make profit, and you should see a Telemant updated deck profile. So I hope you guys do catch me then, and I'll see you all on Monday's video.
It's time! Let's go!